The last topic tonight is
hey, let's stop by the
investment
special case.
program. So we're gonna be discussing basically what are your thoughts on the CBI? How effective do you think it is? Do you think that the government is doing enough to secure our passports? And are we really selling out each other for a little dollar? Right? I know. Let me get you.
Well, first, before we move on, we have a video from where this conversation is going to stem from. Producer,
Your producer is Babe. For
Babe.
you. From to you.
Get it.
Make you hang it done.
Look at this.
Congratulations.
What is this? What is this? What is this? Oh my God! It's my new passport. Finally, I just got a passport. That's crazy.
Let me tell you the story. He got his approval on near Christmas, and then he got his first copy of the passport on his birthday, and now he receives his passport on Valentine's.
Nice. Now I'm officially a citizen of St. Kitts.
Alastair.
So that short video that we just saw shows someone who was actually receiving a passport, and basically they were all excited to get their passport and basically talking about our passport, saying it's a Nevis. And for me, my concern has always been, how safe is it for this passport that we love so much and we support so much, that is just out there on the international market for a price? And what is the right price, and is it the right thing to be selling our passports? Let me just ask Jolanda.
First, I want us to understand the process and how easily accessible. You get 4 to 6 months, or you can speed it up.
4 to 6 months.
You can speed it up and get it in 60 days. Jolando.
I want to try something else.
No, I just want people to know.
So, I guess the conversation is really wealth versus what, integrity?
A moral compass.
I guess that's the conversation. It's a choice.
No,
And
it's
it's
about.
No, it's
about
a choice
our
that we're
citizenship
making.
can be bought.
No, I'm saying because guess what? The bigger picture of the politicians, etc., is that the money is being invested into the. I don't want to misquote. I don't want to say the name of the misquote. The name of the fund. SIDF is the one.
Yes.
Plus property,
You could get
real estate.
into SIDF.
It's SIDF plus real estate. Because I had a list of things that it goes into on the site, but I don't quite remember. So that's why I say it's versus wealth versus the integrity. And as a result, is that we choose the wealth because obviously we continue with the citizenship investment program, and the minimum cost is what, 150,000 USD.
That's what it is now. I think about 10 years ago it actually used to be about 250,000 US, and you had to acquire it that way, which is by, if you purchase a piece of land or property, then you would go through the process where you are screened from international terrorists and stuff like that, and then it was a kind of longer process. I don't know specifically, so I really wouldn't want anybody to misquote me.
I mean, but, I read something and it says you may or may not have an interview. I don't think the process is as tedious as it should be, but they say, I think they just make mention of the fact that, you know, they're going to back check the farms. But based on all of the incidents that have occurred as a result of this program, it kind of make you wonder, do they really even back check these farms as thoroughly as they should?
Okay, so rewind. The Citizenship by Investment program is basically where individuals overseas from wherever could basically pay for a passport, so they could either invest the money. They could either invest in social and infrastructure, real estate, or it just goes into a pool.
Good.
And so what the conversation that I want to have now is basically, do you think that our passport is too accessible to the entire world? Because we have had two incidents where persons have received our passport and they have made it on the news internationally. Right? So we, St. Kitts, who people had died and fought for, and now we are giving these passports to these people. Also, I read that they don't even have to step a foot in St. Kitts and Nevis. They don't have to visit it, but they have their passport and they can access
The benefits.
the benefits of
the
traveling, right? So people who have died and fought for our rights, you are now going to sell our land to these people who have never stepped foot on this country?
I mean, I can't say that I 100% do not agree
You
with the
can't agree
CBI
with it at
program
all.
because, like, say for instance, when I look at the requirements put forth by the UK and the US, is more like, it's not only that one of them was like you have to create 10 jobs, you have to live there for a certain amount of years. When you look at those kind of requirements, plus the screening,
The Netherlands
it's like,
is millions of
No,
dollars
but what
that
I'm
you
saying
have
is
to
that
wait for.
when you look at the fact that they are doing it to make money, but then you could acknowledge the fact that it's not just being given to them, then you could say, okay, I could understand the flip side of getting investment in the country. And the real issue is, as you say, how easily accessible it is to the international scene. That is the real
I just
issue.
wanna
If you were
add
something-
to what Jolanda said, right? And I think the viewers will agree. The CBI program is an international program done by
Everybody.
many countries
Mhm.
around the world.
Exactly.
So, for example, in Canada, you could actually acquire your citizenship by
Work.
buying a piece of property. Most persons end up
Going
buying
to
a
school.
condo, go to school.
Well,
As a
Canada
result-
underpopulated, so they're doing that
No,
to
but
get
what
people
I'm
to
saying
come
is
in.
No, he's saying it's not
pricing-
no, it's
the pricing
kind of
for
normal.
Canada might be different based on the numbers. I mean, their population is like 2 billion or 2 million or whatever, right? Whereas here in St. Kitts, we still have a small population. So, I mean, 250,000, then let's say you have 10 a month, will really, really play a role in terms of the strength of our economy.
That's
It
not-
contributes
I'm
to
not-
how
I'm
we,
not- I know
we
weird.
survive, how we pay our taxes, the civil service, and we also have to remember too, we are a tourism-based environment. We had sugar, we moved from that into tourism. Even now, going through 2021 and 2020 has taught us that we really don't produce anything. I really don't have much to lobby internationally.
So you sell out the land to
I'm not
anybody
saying
who can
that, but
afford
I'm
it.
just saying that we
So
have-
because
I'm not- you're
you
making it
see-
black and
no,
white.
it
It's
is
not
black and white. It
white.
is black and white because
No.
simply because I understand that okay,
Amazing
these
point.
funds are going to go into a pool and it's going to be now generated to help our economy. Fine. Okay, but there are other ways to go about it. What
Namely?
I am saying, invest in the agriculture industry.
But the investment needs
The same-
revenue, and
the
that's
same
the
way.
issue that we
The
have. in
same
terms of-
way.
That the SIDF
What do you
program
mean? What do you
is
mean?
not
We have
diverged
land.
into
The land that you are
different programs
selling
such as
to
agriculture,
these,
etc.
the land that you are selling to these people for passports and so that we don't even get a name or we don't even get any sort of statistic as to how many passports are being sold yearly. We don't even know where they're investing. We don't know what they're invested in. We don't know anything about that thing. And it is, we are selling these properties that we could, in St. Kitts and Nevis, could invest that land and help our children and our children. But these people have land in St. Kitts and their children are going to come in St. Kitts and Nevis and they are going to basically run the country because they got land. They could vote, they could say what they want, and we ain't have no idea as to what is happening as it relates to
I
that.
can understand wanting more transparency, and then as I
I don't
said,
want it to happen
as
at
I said,
all.
okay,
I'm gonna-
but then
I'm
in
gonna
my
contradict
view,
you.
I understand the whole idea of transparency. 1, 2, having a more
Stringent.
intense, strict process in acquiring it. But I can't agree with not looking at different ways that people could invest and
Of course,
And
you could
to
invest.
contribute
As
revenue
Lester
to our
had said
country,
initially,
because
these
it-
people would invest in real estate
When-
and then
when you were saying the agriculture
through the
program,
process.
I think the SIDF fund is it not used for different programs in general?
It
I think
is.
it's such as the agriculture. So ultimately, it is an investment in that, no?
yes.
But I'm gonna also
But
say
I
this,
never-
Ayano.
I never said
Remember,
that.
a lot
That's
of
what I
persons
said.
are not aware of what happens in terms of how governments make money. So, for example, a lot of people don't pay any attention at all to when they have a budgetary period. They don't understand the importance of financial end years, the fiscal years, and also when they start. So, for every person, every young person should at least understand what the budgetary period stands for. A lot of people think it's just going into the House of Parliament and talking quote-unquote shit. You know what I mean? But the reality is that it's a lot deeper than that, because those things determine what your ministry, how this is, whatever, if you ever go through one of the estimates booking from the Ministry of Finance, that is where we will kind of narrow down a lot of those things and say that
at
the
what
CBI
cost?
program
That's the thing.
for
At what cost?
I guess I kind I'm kind of itching to hear what he got to say.
We're building $1 million high school. At what cost?
Let me hear what Saki
We have to think these things are not sustainable.
You're so passionate. You're good. Breathe. This is your time to breathe. But anyways, it's like a cost benefit analysis. That's what the first thing we need to do before we even judge the whole investment program.
Correct.
I mean, it's like a passport, couple pages, and maybe the 64th most powerful passport in the world. I think is that. Well, may not if that figure change now because I mean COVID kind of switch it up a little bit. But yeah, I mean like to get $150,000 plus maybe the 10 jobs or whatever, like the person investing. I mean, if they're only doing it like that.
However, here is 150,000 US for the applicant, and for let's say the spouse is an additional 25,000 US. And if you have children,
and
it's
it
gonna be
depends on what you want
20,000 US per person. And then if you want property, that's really 400,000
so it's
US.
Like a passport. Like for $400,000 basically is like that's the cap basically that way I guess for a passport, why not? Like why not this when they could use this $400,000 to create a different industry? When I could use this $400,000.
So you feel like all of us, you feel like all these countries using it, selling their soul?
You have to understand
acknowledge that ain't only us.
You have to understand the power behind the passport. I am talking for St. Kitts and Nevis. I can't talk for Dominica. I can't talk for Grenada. I can't talk for Antigua. I cannot speak for them. I am speaking for St. Kitts and Nevis. The power behind the passport means that you are a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. You are a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. You have never stepped foot in St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm not disputing the financial benefits that we get because, of course, the road, like all the different infrastructure developments and whatever, we have benefited from, and I am not knocking the development of St. Kitts and Nevis because a lot of that came from the SIDF funds. I am asking at what cost are we willing to have these investors pay their money and extradite
our integrity.
But you see,
and then you have to understand also that we are less than 50 years independent. So our children, what is their life going to look like? So they must bunk up in a project house where
as I said, I definitely agree with the whole requirement not being enough.
Yeah, they could add more to it.
I definitely, especially watching like when I took a look at the international scene, as I said, what the UK, Malta, like what different people require. It was honestly sad for me to see that, you know. You may not have an interview process. You know, may not have to set foot in the country. Like, you understand what I mean? I could understand that, but I can't say that I don't agree with it at all. It just has to be revisited and revamped.
I think they're also looking at.
But how they guy in a passport adversely affecting us and the economy?
It does.
We only think about this generation.
I just asking him. I
agree. Give him a chance. One at a time. He asked a question.
I just asked him. That's what me saying. How they guy in a passport adversely affecting?
Let me interject and advise on that one. I don't know if you remember about 4 to 5 years ago, there was a situation where the person came and then they came to Canada. Perfect example. And then we lost our Canadian free visa access as a result. Now, Canada is an international country that accepts all of this. And you know what they said off the record, from what the article said? That the advice is saying, yes, we understand that you do have a CBI program in place, but you two have to also be a little bit more strenuous on your application and sifting process. Because how is it that Sakian can apply for the same passport to Canada and I deny him based on international standards,
and
knowing
that
his record has whatever against him? And you come down there as a small country, a small promising country, which is where Ayana is going. And now it caused all 60,000 of our population to lose that visa-free access as a result of a small mishap.
Yeah. And as I said, and to be honest, as I said, it comes down to the whole requirements and what's revamped, revisited. That's where the whole questioning our integrity comes from. how easy it is for you to get. I can't dispute that. I don't like the idea of the investment program.
How is it a simple fix? We still can't bounce back from it because internationally Canada is still with honorable man.
Sure, I mean that has been done, but when I say fix, I mean like it's an easy fix in terms of just revisiting the program and like making it, as we say, a little more less accessible.
I wouldn't say it's an easy fix because I think that the way our passports stood, it will always be tainted in a different light because of that mishap. Which is why I said the price of it was 250,000, now it's 150, because they realized that it loses its edge. It had more power and clout where you had that visa free access. No,
we thinking it's an easy fix. Because we thinking, don't just sell your passport. They can't even come to the country, but in the politicians' mind, they're thinking, listen here, if it's 150,000, we sell 10 this week. Because but
I just feel like they're doing that. I feel like
that's how they're thinking, and that is why they sacrifice the whole.
I think the whole program is like, you got so much loopholes.
Of course.
It's like, that's like an avenue for them to thief.
And for them to misappropriate. We don't get statistics. We can't say where these people buy the land. Where these people invest in land?
Where the land be? Like the land just rest
how many passports have been sold in 2019, 2020? How many? Where now?
Not only
but
that,
it's just
remember the issue that came.
Transparency is an issue of government, period.
Under the former administration, when they spoke about where they took out the place of birth in the passport and they also changed the person's name and stuff like that. I'm not, please nobody quote me, but I'm just saying that these were things that also hinders the integrity of the passport.
It's just weird, man. Like I don't know, even in the whole election thing, it's like why all of this like happening? Even the whole election thing, people voting, got Spanish voting and so on, the people near, man. Like for election, like this gonna adversely affect you children here. Not really you, but like when the Spanish them got a social security card and so. And them man they again they work them and so. And this because the Spanish they're willing to do anything for
and
the
that's the thing. We only the
things Jolanda cut still to do. The Spanish they're willing to do.
What happening now? We're thinking about the fact that a lot of these other countries are far more developed. You understand? They think about their children and their children. China think about their children. We're here only thinking about who on the land right now. We're not foreseeing what is going to possibly happen in the near future. We're not, and we're only 38 years. How many years? 38 years independent?
Looking at this, so I can. Because we fall into the category of Caribbean country, so that probably plays a role in them having such loose requirements because it's Grenada, St. Lucia, Dominica, Antigua and Barbuda. Yeah, those countries in particular stood out on the internet when I researched which Caribbean countries use the CBI program, and the minimum cost was actually less. It was like 100,000. I get it from. It's like 100,000 USD minimum to invest. So it's like.
So ain't just saying it, sir.
No, ain't just saying it. So it's like I feel as though that's one of the reasons. So they ain't gonna watch the UK and they ain't gonna watch Canada and the US and say they got all the requirements. Let me try to be like them because they're gonna really watch the other smaller islands who is really the competition, and that's why they probably have such a strong hard time.
But Jolanda,
no, that's just this is just me just trying that thing out there, you know.
We are.
Don't come talk economics to me and feel like me gonna say something.
No, we are. The more people want something, me remember exactly how it
talk, man. You start
now. You don't start with the
the more the demand is, the higher.
The what? The price?
The price.
You don't mix up the people. The lower the price, the higher the demand.
Okay, the lower the price.
It's an inverse relationship.
The higher the price.
The lower the demand.
No, the lower the supply, the higher demand. Because if you have 10...
The higher the demand.
The higher
demand, the higher the price.
Why?
The higher demand, the higher the price. The lower the demand, the lower the price.
The lower the supply.
The lower the supply.
Yes.
So for example, if Mercedes
the lower the
10
supply.
of whatever, then basically...
Well, it depends on the kind of good, because if it's an inferior good, it's not because you can't just generalize it. It depends. It depends. I mean,
okay, what I was trying to say, stop the economics.
Nobody said you don't do it.
Everyone that goes to it. Go cram and regurgitate and they can't play it. If it is that you say, okay, we are the 64th, as Sakyan said, the 64th, our passports has this high value in the international system. Carry up our price.
It's probably more now because we ain't got a corona case.
You think a Mercedes-Benz and sell the price for $30,000 like a Mark X?
It's the same thing with an iPhone is still $1,200 and people know this. But what they do, they either go on a payment plan or they come and they swipe their credit card.
Yes.
And you know what your standard is,
because you know what your standard is.
So like, I know my what?
You know that this land in St. Kitts and Nevis that our people fight for, that started the book is why our people fight and died for the citizenship.
You're still with that?
Yes.
Listen,
you got to understand the history and bring it to the present. So we know. We understand our value, we need to carry up our price. Just like how any international big name brand would carry up their price. Now Nike ain't selling the price, the shoes them for the cheap thing like Skechers. You understand?
But Skechers get expensive. Skechers is white people shoes. That's
just my point of view.